Welcome to the Trading Lounge. I'd love to share with you a trade I made today on my journey to 100K, where I try to take $1,000 to $100,000 as fast as I can as a fairly new day trader. Yesterday was a very red day, like massive red day. I think we lost like 400 and some bucks. One of my worst losses so far on this journey. So today was about chipping away to get that back. Now, we leaned on our win percentage today because we have a high win percentage on this journey so far. And that's kind of what we focus on. So let's get into those trades today. The first three stocks today. I want to actually switch to this other screen. And here's your three stocks right here: PMI, JDZG, and CRSR. Now, for those of you who watched the video yesterday, you know that I made a mistake on a penny stock, and it actually cost me multiple times throughout the day. So today, I really wanted nothing to do with penny stocks, but boy, were they just calling my name. I didn't trade a penny stock today, but I really wanted to trade it because the small caps were so slow today that really it was just penny stocks at the beginning of the day. They were just taking off, and I'm just not great at them. So I just, patient, we'll wait. And I made a trade on my Roth to kind of loosen up a little bit, broke even, and I'm like, okay, well, we're not really feeling the vibe. We might want to think about doing something a little bit different today. So something came to my head, and it's from a YouTube comment that I got, and I'm going to pull that over right now, and I will just kind of stretch it out just a tiny bit because of how the pin tool works. And you guys might not be able to see this, or you might, I don't know. I'll read it to you either way. But so this guy here says, in Webull, use a percentage amount of your buying power instead of the dollar amount. The percentage of your funds, use the percentage of the funds in your account regardless of any losses. And I'm not a huge fan of this because I've had issues in the past. But today I was like, this comment, thanks Wick Hunter, stood out in my head because I'm like, we should just do it. Even if we miss out on a couple trades, let's just do 25% of the buying power. We'll just do that multiple times throughout the day, and we'll see if we can't get a little bit of a flow going. So that's actually what we did. I set my key bindings to 25% of my buying power, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And all my trades today I made with that key binding. And then this other guy here says right here, this is another one right here. So I combine that with kind of this. So Jasper Collingsworth says, "Keep it up, man. I'm in a very similar boat as you." We'll kind of skip through that. And it says, "The past 2 weeks have been so cold. One thing that has helped me in trading significantly smaller size and just working on entries and exits. Once it heats up again, I'll increase my share size. Good luck to you." So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do these things today, and we're just going to kind of get a feel going. And it actually really worked well. I prefer to go in, all out. But it worked well. While I have this screen up, let's talk about the Momo screener, because someone commented that they would like to see the screener. Let's see here. We got size out of there. Right here. This person says, "I'm having trouble setting up the Momo Pro currently. Would you share your settings?" So I will just share that real quick so that person has that. The first thing I do in here is I turn on, which I don't, right here, this section right here. All I'm focusing on is turning on this sound. And the only other thing I'm focusing on is this momentum stocks area. The other stuff, I don't really worry about high day because it notes it right here. So like if it's going high of day and then also momentum, you're going to see HOD right here, which I really love about this scanner. And then, I guess if I didn't have something where I could see things were halted, I would be using the halt. But I have my level 2 in Webull, which shows me when things are halted. So I'm not super worried about it. So what I do is I set that, and then I come into this little gear icon right here, and I click this. And this is the only settings I use. I use a price of 1 to 20, a float of 0 to 220 million, and then I leave the volume alone, and I leave the spread, and I leave the breaking high alone. And that's the only settings that I use, and I found it picks up most things within that range that where a trader picks up, and at a really similar time. There are some things that where a trader doesn't pick up that this picks up, and vice versa. But for the most part, that's it. And then I'll just whittle it down. I'll make it smaller. If for some reason decide not to work, I'll kind of make it so it's one column like this, or one row, or whatever. And then I'll do this, and I'll stretch it down so it's the only thing I see. And then I'll just make it fit wherever I need it to fit on my screen. So that's how you set up that Momo scanner. We'll close that down. So let's go over these trades today. One thing about Webull that we are finding, and I definitely found it today, is that the chart, the 10-second charts do not display the proper entry and exits for my trades. The 1-minute charts do. I've been verifying that, but it's been really frustrating. It's actually adding a lot of work for me to do these videos because I'm like writing everything down, trying to figure out exactly where to show you guys on the 10-second chart. So I've decided for now, until I can figure it out or move to another platform, I'm just going to go with 1 minute unless the 10-second really mattered in that trade, then I'll pull the 10-second chart up. So the first one we traded today, all of these stocks were found today on the Warrior Trader scanner. This is one of the best scanners I've used. The Momo Screener scanner is a very good free one. This is a paid scanner, and the 3 stocks I traded all came up on this scanner. PMI was one I traded today, and it went from like 193 to over $3 with some news. And then right down here, CRSR, which is Corsair Gaming, it showed up on the scanner, and it had earnings this afternoon, and that was its news, some positive earnings. We traded that today. And then this one right here, JDZG, which we traded, was on the scanner all morning. I mean, and we're going to go over all these trades right now. Where are you? I'll move it over just so it's got something on that screen over there. Now we did, like I said, we made multiple trades today. The way to set that macro in inside Webull is in your Turbo Trader right here. You just right click and you go to settings. And then for one of them, I put, for this one that says buy using all buying power, they both said it actually, but I actually set the amount in here. So whatever that was, I put 3,600 in case I wanted to go all in, because we like to go all in sometimes. And it really depended on the price of the stock. And then over here, I set this one. I don't know why you don't have to do it that way. You can just do it all in here and then exit out. But so I put 25% as the quantity and then percentage. And then these are the settings I use. You can screenshot that for. I don't use the stop order stuff because then I can't use this during pre-market and aftermarket, because you can't use stop losses in the pre-market and aftermarket. So that's kind of how you set that up. And then I have it bound to Alt E for the one that does the 25%, and Alt W for the one that does all of my buying power. And then my sell macros or bindings are on Alt 1 and Alt 2 to sell on the bid and sell on the ask. And today I actually did a little selling on the ask, which was nice because I got better prices than I normally do, because I usually sell on the bid. Okay, to the trades. So the first one today was JDZG. And as we scroll out, let's see here. Where was it? Right here. So this popped up on the scanner, and the one thing I didn't like about this, so over here we've got a million float, which is great. It's hard to borrow. Those are two wonderful things I like to see. It was, I believe, I'm pulling it up right now, it was a Chinese stock. And Chinese stocks have just been ripping and just dropping really fast. And you can see that in this first section right here where the alert started going off. It goes from somewhere around $1.48 all the way up to $2. I mean, it goes 50 cents a share like that, and then it just immediately drops. And I'm like, I'm not getting involved in this. There's no way I'm getting involved in this. I'm not doing it. And then I see, okay, normally what happens here is they don't ever recover. It goes up really high, comes down really far, and then it just kind of never recovers. This one just kind of kept bouncing back. And then it would dip down and bounce back and dip down and bounce back. And then it kind of consolidated here, and then it ripped up. So right in here, I was like, okay, and I said it in my Discord, or sorry, it's not my Discord, the Discord I'm in, that if it does this bounce again, I'm going to get in. And I got in. However, it was my first trade of the day on this account after a red day, and I think I got a little gun shy. So here's the candle that I went in on. So I got in at 195 and got out at 194. So this was actually a loss of $4.38. But what happened here is that as this 1 minute candle went over this, I waited just a little bit and then I entered. And then it went up, but not enough for my profit target. So I was just kind of waiting. I wanted to make 10 cents. It didn't do that. And then it kind of came back down. So this candle actually opened, it came down, and then it shot up and then kind of settled in. I bought and then it went up and settled in. And so it just never really hit my profit target. And I'm like, I don't want to lose money. And the way these stocks, these Chinese stocks, they can just go south so fast. So I set my stop loss to 90 cents, $1.90. And as soon as I saw that it went up and then started to pull back right before this candle was ending, I got out. And I was actually trying to get out to break even. But the reality is, had I respected my 90 cent stop loss, 5 cents, sorry, $1.90, so 5 cent stop loss, I mean, I think I got out of this trade. I got out of this trade 1 second before this candle ended because I was nervous. And then this next candle opened and shot up 16. It shot up from it shot up 20 cents. So that hurts, you know. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, I lost one, but I only entered in 25% of my position. So I still have quite a bit of buying power left. I waited throughout the morning. Nothing really popped up. And then right before the bell rang, PMI popped up. And what was the news on JD? I don't even know if it had news. It didn't even have news. JDZG didn't even have news. Not like relevant news anyway. At least I don't think it did. No. What is this? This was from, I guess there was a little bit of news there, but I don't really know what it means. Some kind of foreign private issuer pursuing. I'll have to go read that later. I don't exactly know what that is. So then PMI hits the scanner, and it, like I showed you earlier, it's ripping the scanner. And what it showed, it said, this was at, what time was this? Let's see. This actually had breaking news, but it wasn't anything like spectacular. There was some kind of law firm investor with losses on their investment. You know what? I don't even know what kind of news this is. It doesn't even look that great, but it did cause the stock, we'll switch this to auto, to rip really fast. And to be honest with you, I was really happy with this trade because this is one of the first times I've entered into a trade, exited a trade, waited, entered into it again, and exited again, and was kind of happy with how it all went down. It could have went a little bit better, but I'm like, this feels like how I'm going to be trading long term. Like when the account grows, when there's 50,000 in here, this is kind of the thing I'm going to be doing. It's like, okay, you see this start to rip up and you find your entry points and exit points all along the way. You don't buy and hold all the way at the top. You know, you're like taking profits kind of all the way up while you're adding kind of thing. And this kind of felt like that today. So PMI pops up on the scanner, and it's actually 26 million float, which is a little high for me. I like to be under 20, but it's the end of the day. Nothing's really popping up. It's slow. This is the only thing that popped up. And I noticed that it's hard to borrow. If this would have been easy to borrow and high float, I don't think I would have pulled the trigger. I don't know. I don't think I would have done it because of the way I was feeling that in this morning. But anyway, so the first opportunity to get in was here on this candle here. As soon as this candle passes this one-ish, I get in at 192, and then it pops up right up in here for. This is another one where I had the very similar kind of it opened and kind of dipped down, and then once it passed over the top of this, I entered, and it didn't hit the profit target, and I decided that I was going to get out. So it rolls over to this other candle. I can't show you the 10-second candle, but there's a little bit of a red in there that kind of spooked me. I decided I'm going to sell. So I sold it for a 4-cent profit. And then right as I sold it, you know, not respecting the stop losses again, this next candle opens and just goes. I'm like, okay, well, that's no problem. I got a little profit here. I think it was like 14 or 15 bucks. I forget what the profit was on that original trade. I can't do the math that fast, but So I'm like, okay, well, when this candle right here opens and goes above this candle, I'm going to get in. And it did. I could have got a better entry, but I really wanted to confirm that it was going to go a little bit higher. And so it actually, I think this right here is actually, what is this? The high of this candle was 235. So should have probably got in at 235. But again, we're a little nervous. But luckily we have 25% of more of our buying power. So we buy this with 25% of our buying power. Once it starts to get close to 250, I wanted to buy for the break at 250. I buy for the break at 250. It pops over 250 rather quickly. I see it hit 268. I think it actually hit 270. I initiate the sell order, get out of there with an 18-cent profit on 330 shares. That's pretty awesome. Now, would it have been nicer to have more shares in the game there? Yeah, but I would have already probably been down. Like if I'd have put all my money in JDZG, I would have been down with all my buying power. And if I'd have put all my money into this, this trade here, I would have been down. I mean, I would have been up 4 cents a share. I just wouldn't have made that much money. So it was kind of nice to be able to do that today. I'm not going to lie. And I might do that a little bit more often. So was happy with this. The total profit on this stock was $76.99. And then I lost $438 on that one. And then the final stock, I think I had like $500 of buying power or something like that. The popped up was Corsair. And I really had no real business trading this stock, to be honest with you. It hit the scanners, and let's see, where is it? Oh, I got to scroll this way. Yeah, hit the scanners. Now, here's the thing about Corsair. Okay. So it's high float, 46 million. It's also easy to borrow. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there that's not great for me, but it popped off earnings. So there's an earnings report. It's earnings season, and I don't typically trade earning stuff, but I mean, if it's running up after hours, so it can't be halted, I'm like, we might want to get in here. So I didn't see, because I was in, what was I doing? Oh, I was watching another stock, actually. I was watching, and I do want to bring that up real fast. I was watching was it MGNR? I think it was MGNR. I'm scrolling up in the scanner to kind of take a look, but I think that's what it was. Real quick, I really want to show you guys this. Yeah, MGNR, MGRT. Oh, we're gonna have to pull it up in the other chart, I think. No, we can do it here. That's fine. MGRT. This is the stock I was looking at when the market closed, and I want to show you guys why. What is it now? Are we over here? Yeah. Okay. So go to auto. So auto. There. So the reason why I was looking at this stock when when the market closed is because look at it was gapping up right here during the day, and off really, really low volume. And I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. And we had a stock do this last week that blew up. And so I look at the daily chart, and one sec here. Look at the daily chart, MGRT. I look at the daily chart, and I see it's a blue sky setup, meaning there's no data past this point. And so I think to myself, 1 second here, we're going to see what's going on with my boy. That's real life right there. We're going to leave it in too because it's one take. If you guys leave me because I took a second away from the mic, hopefully you'll be back. Anyway, so I had my eyes on this for after the aftermarket. Like, okay, like if this thing kind of keeps going and it can get over, at the time I marked it off, it was 1405, I think, or just a little bit higher than that. It has a chance to just keep going. And I think it was a Chinese stock or a Hong Kong stock. And so this is where I had my eyes at the time that, now it didn't end up working out, which is fine. But that's where I had my eyes at the time that that Corsair's earnings came out. But anyway, after the earnings come out, because this would have been a good entry. It comes up. There's a beautiful pullback on the 1 minute candle. This is at $5.15. This candle does great. I mean, you go 515 up to 585. And then the volume's not super great here. I mean, I don't really know, like, it would have been interesting there. I'm not really sure because, yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I would have entered in this. But then you get another pullback there. Multiple entries up along this way. And so I think to myself that I want in. I'm familiar with Corsair. I'm a gamer. I've purchased their products. I have researched their business. And so I'm like, oh, I feel comfortable with the positive earnings that I can get in on this stock. And so we enter in on this candle right here. And I got in, unfortunately, a little bit high. I was thinking what I should have done was waited a split second. And because it pulled back, right? There's a pullback here, it comes up. If I had just waited a split second for this pullback candle, I could have entered in on this green candle right above this line, which would have been like 445, and then went all the way up to 675. That would have been the play. Instead, what I did was, that would have been like the pretty safe move. Instead, what I did was I went in on this candle right here, and my thought process here is it opened up, and then it was shooting up. It was shooting up like pretty quickly. And I'm like, I'm going to get in on this because I think this is just going to keep going. So I got in. I wanted to get in more like the break of 650. It just didn't work out. I fumbled the entry a little bit late. And so I get in at 657 and it immediately drops right back down. So at this point, I have decided when I entered this trade, I decided that my stop was going to be the bottom of this candle. And that's like 625 or something like that. So risking a little bit more than I normally would. But again, we're only doing 25% of my buying power. We have a decent cushion. I like the stock. And it never stopped out. I kind of kept going. And then once this candle climbed up above 670, I took my profit. So that's a 13 cent. I think it was a little bit more than this is rounding. I think it was a little bit more than that, but a pretty decent little profit right there. On Corsair, I think it was $19 or $20, close to $20 profit right there. And then I had $50 of buying power left. So why not overtrade it? So, we just decided we want to overtrade. And we get in. This is another really horrible entry here, where had I been really watching it, I would have entered in right as this candle popped over here. Would have been like I don't know, we'll call it 630, 632. I don't know exactly what that is. Let's take a look at it real quick. That would have been, the high was 638. Instead, I get in at 660. I mean, like, it's just, I got in high. I saw it rip up past this line, past here, and I'm like, I'm going to get in. So I was going to do the same thing, like, 650 or so. I kind of fumble my entry. I get in at 660, and then it immediately comes down. And I'm like, okay, when do I, and I hadn't even really decided when I was going to exit this. But my thought was, all right, well, I only got 7 shares. So there's not a whole lot of damage to be done here. So at this moment, I'm like, what's the VWAP? This line right here. It was at I think it was at 624. I'm like, okay, if anything drops below this VWAP, I'll just get out. Because 624, that's more money than I would normally do. It's like almost 50 cents, 40 cents. But I was just like, it's not that many shares, and maybe I'll get lucky. It'll hit the VWAP and shoot up a little bit and do kind of one of these. And I waited, and as soon as it got below that VWAP right there, I got out. And good thing I did, because it continued to go back down. VWAP can certainly be your friend. So we profited $87.63 today, almost making back, a quarter of what we lost yesterday. And today was about leaning on win percentage. I have a high win percentage on this challenge, and so you reduced, size, leaning on that win percentage, and trying to take surefire entries and exits. And we made a few mistakes today, for sure. I mean, I got to get better at some of these entries. Corsair, I probably shouldn't even been in Corsair, to be honest with you. But I love the company, so it's just one of those things. And here we are. So data for today, we've got it updated. We started with $1,000. We've added $1,200. We're going to add some more to this soon, actually. So these numbers will change. And that's the thing about this challenge, is that it's not a typical challenge where I'm only going to start with 1,000 and that's all I'm going to do the entire time. No, I would like to do this full time for my family, like as an income. And so when we see positivity, when we see things going on, like right now, these are very positive results. They're headed in the right direction. I've made some mistakes. Yesterday's entry was a good entry, I felt. It just didn't go my way, and if it would have went my way, we would be up quite a bit here. And I don't know. I think we just kind of keep chugging along, keep adding some cash as I get it. You know, a little tax return money, a little birthday money, a little, I don't know, a little side hustle money, some tip money, whatever it's got to be. We got to throw it in here within reason. And so we've profited $1,336 since we started the challenge 33 trade days ago. Happy with that. Is that $100? No, I was a really bad math. We've 36 winning trades for a win percentage of 81%. Very happy with that win percentage. We just got to keep that rolling. Today's trades, I entered all of these trades in separately. I don't really know if that's how I should do it, but like, you know, on Corsair and PMI, where I made 2 trades each on those, I entered those in separately. I only lost on the Corsair one there. So, but I wanted to make sure that that loss was captured in my win percentage. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work, but I feel like that's fair. So that is what we did. Anyway, tomorrow we go at it again, and you know, we'll be patient. I'll be here bright and early in the morning, and trying to see if we can't, you know, tackle that drawdown that we got yesterday. We just chipped away at about $90. I was up $90 at one point in time, but $87 towards that, and we're gonna keep going. And we hope you guys were green today. And again, I thank you guys for your support on the channel. We'll see you tomorrow.